Troops, move out! D-Brigade returns in BT14 with a secondary trait associated with it now. With the web novel series of Digimon Seekers, D-Brigade also has Digi-Police in its traits now. And believe me, this archetype gets a huge boost, but it is still not without weaknesses. As usual, I'll go over the card by card, the strengths, the weaknesses, and the combos. This deck runs 4 level 2s, 16 level 3s, 10 level 4s, 4 level 5s, 5 level 6s, 2 level 7s, 9 option cards, and 4 tamers. There are a lot of flex spots in this deck. This is currently what I am testing, but more changes may come in the future. With level 2s, Missimon is the only level 2 Digimon that's been printed for this archetype, with the first printing giving a generic plus 1000 DP if you have D-Brigade in your trait. The second printing from EX3 gives you Reboot if you have another Digimon with D-Brigade in play, and although EX4 did print another one, this one was not D-Brigade related. But the newest BT14 variant allows you once per turn when attacking, return 3 cards of D-Brigade and or Digi-Police in its traits to the top of your deck. This is an amazing egg because frankly, you can choose to cycle the cards in any specific way you want. Despite this deck only running 4 level 5s and only a handful of level 6s, you go through the deck so quick at times that you can bring out a specific commandramon or Digivolve up and get the next level component. No other substitutions, but if you were to consider other eggs, Pagumon is always an alternative. This level 2 lets you on deletion reveal the top card. If it's a black Digimon, add it to your hand. Only downside with D-Brigade moving forward is that you run more option cards and tamers, meaning less likely you're going to get that ad. Now when it comes to level 3s, you honestly could bump this up and add more commandramons in at the expense of some option cards. But after careful consideration of what could potentially be in the meta, there are reasons why I kept it at the bare minimum of 16. First up, 4 copies of Commandramon from BT14. These are some insane and powerful cards. First, they reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and let you add 1 D-Brigade or Digi-Police trait Digimon. Then you place the remaining cards on top or bottom. This lets you easily cycle for any of your other effects or inheritables. But this Commandramon also sports an inheritable effect that on all turns, when this Digimon would leave the battle area, other than by your effect, by deleting one of your other Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits, prevent it from leaving play. D-Brigade? Protection? Let's go! With BT3 Commandramon, this Digimon is purely in the deck for its cheap on-play cost. The best Commandramon of them all, though, is still from BT4. This Digimon on deletion looks at the top 3 cards of your deck and plays 1 Commandramon from among them. While you may be thinking, but there's only 16 Commandramon total, hicommandramon also counts as a Commandramon Digimon. To round out the Commandramons, it's the decoy variant from EX3. Because other than protection from bounce, deletion, and battle, I got decoy to cover me too by card effect. You may be wondering why I no longer run the big chunky boy from the starter deck. Frankly, there are some effects that trigger the ability to not play one but multiple Commandramons, and because of that, the lower play cost lets me play more bodies to the board when I really need it. As for the blocker variant from BT5, you have a Digimon that can now give all your Commandramons blocker. Value? Definitely. For your level 4s, this variant runs 4 BT14 Numamon. Ironically, this Digimon does not have D-Brigade in its traits, but it does have Digi-Police. On play, and when Digivolving, if you slot Satsuki Tamahime from hand as the bottom Digivolution card, one of your Digimon gains Rush. Could be this one, could be a newly played Commandramon. Regardless, you may find players in the upcoming meta say, Numamon for game. hicommandramon is a new Commandramon variant that has its name also treated as Commandramon, making it a viable target for BT4 Commandramon and identical with its inheritable to the BT14 Commandramon. It has a when attacking effect that reveals the top 3 and lets you play a card with D-Brigade or Digi-Police in its traits without paying the cost, then bottom deck the rest. Functionally speaking, it's basically a BT4 Commandramon with its on deletion effect being a when attacking effect. To finish up my level 4s, I run 2 EX3 Sealsdramon. While jamming can be useful, Satsuki Tamahime provides the reboot if I need it, but its inheritable is also valuable for giving my next played Commandramon rush for the turn. Keep in mind the play of another Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits. can be simply paying the memory or by card effect. You could run more of these, but note because Sealsdramon is a 5 play cost, it whiffs on the target in regard to your BT4 commandramons and hicommandramon. For substitutes, I really don't have any recommendations, as the blocker Sealsdramon can now be achieved via brigadramon, and hybrids don't feel necessary for the deck. Remember, a lot of your D-Brigade effects either bottom deck or trash, and you want to utilize every card slot in the deck as efficiently as possible. For level 5s, personally, I only run 4. However, this is again more preliminary testing, and you might slot out other cards, mainly the option cards, in favor for 2 more in this lineup. But the level 5 is Cargodramon. This Digimon is a play cost 7 Digimon that has an on play, and when Digivolving effect that reveals the top 3 cards of your deck, and plays 1 card with D-Brigade or Digi-Police in its traits, with a play cost of 4 or less without paying its cost. Afterwards, trash the rest. Additionally, its inheritable is on all turns. When one of your other Digimon is deleted, play 1 commandramon of the top 3 cards, and then trash the rest. This card is superior to the secondary option tankdramon from EX3. However, this Digimon is a little more grounded, get it? And reveals the top 3 and plays 1 D-Brigade trait Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less. However, its inheritable is only effective on your turn, and only reveals the top 2 instead of 3. Some lines may run 4 cargodramon and no tankdramons. Some might run 4 and 1, and others 4 and 2. But anything higher than that is a little much to me. For your level 6s, I keep the line very simple. 4 copies of brigadramon and 1 copy of BT14-EX5. With brigadramon, this Digimon is amazing coming off of cargodramon. As a result, you may have manipulated the top of the deck with BT14 commandramon to maximize the bodies you play on board. As a result, your opponent could be facing off against not 1, not 2, but potentially 5 bodies ready to defend. Brigadramon's when Digivolving effect lets you choose any number of your opponent's Digimon so that their play cost total is 7, and delete them. Additionally, all of your D-Brigade trait Digimon gain blocker. But at the end of your turn, once per turn, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and play any number of Digimon with D-Brigade or Digi-Police in their traits, with a total play cost of 7, then trash the rest. In some instances, you might be able to play 3 cards off of this effect. BT14-EX5, though an oldie, can still be a rush attacker for game. While there is an argument that you could run EX3's Darkdramon, my reasoning for it not in this current lineup is the fact that I don't have a large number of level 5s. As a result, the Digivolution into this Digimon conflicts with my Digivolution into Brigadramon. Still, it's a consideration. As for my level 7s, I only have one option for this deck, and that is Death-Exmon. True, you have a chance to trash or bottom deck this card, but with your defense training card, this gives you a chance to nab it if you flip it. Another consideration I had, because of how wide my board can be built sometimes, was Quartzmon. But this one has no searchability chance, and frankly, Digivolving off Brigadramon feels like a waste. With option cards, I have selected a few for discussion. Defense training is my preference because with the lack of floodgates amongst other colors, the only deck to be on the extreme lookout for is Blue Flare, because purple and green don't have the floodgates to counter training cards. DCD Bomb hilariously is a D-Brigade trait option card, but do keep in mind, you cannot play this off of your D-Brigade effects that mention playing a D-Brigade card, mainly because option cards are used, not played. Iron Fisted Onslaught as removal for bigger Digimon like Quartzmon that could be problematic, or even worse, a Death-Exmon. And Congo for stopping other decks that are going to rush. Because of the restriction list, this redefines the BT14 meta for the English release. And with that in mind, Congo stops not only decks like Shine-Greymon from utilizing their Marcus Daemons, but also the wider building decks that are much more prevalent. While yes, Fenrir Lugomon can be the primary attacker, Congo does stop the smaller dark animal Digimon like Black Godamon from attacking. This is also a counter for mirrors and even hybrids. Other option card considerations was Digidimension for the Masty Digivolve of 1 off 3 Digimon, because this card also lets you remove wider board threats with play costs of 6 or less. And lastly, Tamers in the form of just Satsuki Tamehime. This Tamer is one of the first Tamers with a new keyword, Mind Link. allowing you to attach her under one of your Digimon with Numemon or Munzemon in its name, or have the Digi-Police in its traits. Before you consider mind-linking her, her start of main phase gains you a memory if your opponent has a Digimon. But because you mind-link, you now provide an all-turns ability that gives your Digimon jamming and reboot. This is also a nice way to cheese your opponent from tucking your Digimon under Tamers, as you can detach the Tamer at the end of their turn to gain that memory if they have a Digimon in play. Likewise, this is some protection from Tamer destruction cards, but it does mean if they can remove your stack, the Tamer also goes. Strength-wise, this deck builds wide for not only aggro purposes, but has shifted in some ways to a defensive strategy if you need to fall back on your troops and regroup. However, the concept of D-Brigade itself has two major flaws. While Sayakomon can be a threat to your defense training cards, nothing stops this deck harder than Pomumon and Bloomlordmon decks. I question whether Pillowmon will see any play either, but regardless, these floodgates stop Digimon from being played by card effects. And because this deck likes to build wide, you are extremely susceptible to cards like Quartzmon who can suspend your entire board and stop you from attacking or defending. Another threat being Death Xmon from just clearing all your commandramons. Overall, I strongly believe that the upcoming meta has a lot of decks that can build wide boards in just one turn. You thought Bloomlordmon was the only one? With Jesmon's return, and the introduction of Fenrir Lugomon and the Digi-Police, definitely expect one of these decks to be top dog. Combo-wise, your goal is to swarm the board as quickly as possible. Because BT14 commandramon can stack your deck, your best play is a BT4 commandramon in the Raise and an on-play of this Searcher. Doing so can restack the top so that you guarantee a commandramon on the BT4's deletion. But remember, in a format with training options and Tamers, sometimes the little guy might just have jamming. Though if you have 2 memory at minimum and the BT4 commandramon is deleted, you can play another commandramon. Now if you have Numemon, you could Digivolve on top of BT14 commandramon to hopefully place Satsuki Tamehime under it to give the newly played Digimon rush, with the possibility of hicommandramon spawning another D-Brigade or Digi-Police Digimon with a play cost of 3 or less for more board building. Cargodramon could be the Digivolve up before passing back the turn, with brigadramon making its appearance the following turn. Overall, this deck isn't OTK like Wargreymon or Jesmon, but it can put out enough bodies to prevent your opponent from attacking for game. Sometimes that's all you need to turn the game around and counterattack. But what are your thoughts? Which elements of this deck do you like or dislike? Remember, I don't have all the answers or a perfect solution to the deck, but as always, I have a place for you to start. This is Digi-Panda, logging out.